Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I've done any work to my 2005 Ford Excursion diesel. So today I'm going to shoot a really quick video on how to replace the transmission fluid along with the internal and external transmission filter. And then before you do this job, go ahead and drive it around for a little bit. Make sure you get that transmission fluid warmed up to a normal operating temperature. As you can see in the upper right hand corner there, we're about right at normal. And then I also got a live wire gauge here. Looks like we're at 151. The normal operating temperature is right around 167 to 170, but it's been sitting here for a few minutes, so it cooled down a little bit, but we should be good. And then go ahead and pop your hood. So with your hood open, you'll want to locate your transmission dipstick, which is going to be right here. And before you start draining down below, you want to check your level just to make sure it's full. That way we can add the same amount of new transmission fluid as we drained out. So you want to just make sure this is full, but you want to do this with the engine running. I'm not going to do it with the engine running because you guys won't be able to hear me. But with the engine running, go ahead and pull this and give it a wipe. Stick it back in and then pull it back out. And what you're looking for is to make sure that your fluid is in the H crosshairs there, which is the hot side. So you want to make sure it's in those crosshairs, and that means it's full. So go ahead and stick that back in and we'll start draining. And then with your empty drain pan, locate your transmission pan and then your drain plug, and that's going to be a 1/2 inch or a 13 millimeter. So go ahead and pull that. And we'll go ahead and let that drain. So while that's draining, go ahead and crawl underneath the front passenger side here and locate your external filter. That's going to be the toilet paper roll one. We can go ahead and replace that. It's going to be a 22 millimeter, and it's best to use an impact wrench on this. And then also get you another second drain pan to catch some of the fluid. So go ahead and take that off. Next, you'll want to go ahead and replace that gasket. So go ahead and grab a pick and just pull this gasket off. Grab your new gasket, and there's the part number for it, this one right here. So go ahead and stick that on. And I'm just gonna take my finger, just put a little bit of this transmission fluid on here. And then go ahead and stick that up on there. And then go ahead and grab your housing and your old filter here. And just pull that out. And you can see that just sets in there, just like that. And the spring side down. Let's pull that. Go ahead and grab our new filter, and it's going to look like that. There's the part number, FT-145. Go ahead and pull that out. And then there's no right way of putting this on. You can do it either way. So just go ahead and grab that, go ahead and stick that in there. Make sure that's all empty. And let me go ahead and wipe this out real quick. And then with that clean, you can see there's a little round spot at the bottom there for the spring to set in. So go ahead and sit that in there. And let's go ahead and install it. Then go ahead and take your new filter and housing. And what you can do is just go ahead and stick that up in there. Just like that. And then let's go ahead and screw this on. And then I just go hand tight on that. I think it calls for right at 10 foot-pounds, but just going hand tight will work just fine. And then go ahead and clean up all the old fluid here. All right, so with that pretty much done draining, we can go ahead and start pulling all of the transmission pan bolts, which are going to be 10 millimeter. And these ones towards the back here, you may need to use a universal socket just to get up in there because of this cross member getting in the way. So let's go ahead and pull those. And then, like I said earlier, as you get to these three back ones here, a universal socket or swivel socket works best to get these off. And then it's nice to have somebody help you with this, or just hold it as you're getting these last three off here. Once you do that, go ahead and pull your pan here. You may want to tip it down this way, so if there's any extra fluid, it goes into your drain pan here. Just like that. Then you can go ahead and grab your pan, and we'll go ahead and set that aside. Just going to put it on a piece of cardboard now since it's kind of wet still. Next, go ahead and remove your internal filter here. And you can do that by just holding one end, and then we're going to pull downward on it. And if you're lucky enough, this little O-ring will come out with it. If not, it'll get stuck up in there, and you'll want to use a tiny pick or a flathead screwdriver just to pry it out of there. Just be careful, you don't want to nick up any of that inside there. But like I said, if you're lucky enough, this will come off with it. Then go ahead and grab your new internal filter. Just went with the original Motorcraft. There's the part number. And if you check out the description, I'll put links to all the parts I'm using. I got them all off Amazon. So go ahead and check that out. With your new filter, what I like to do is just grab some of this transmission fluid and just kind of coat this new gasket with some ATF here. So that slides up there nice and easy. That should be good. And then just go ahead and stick it up in there. So it kind of clicks in there. It's kind of like that. All right, so next we'll go ahead and clean up our pan. And this gasket that's on here is reusable. So you can go ahead and pull that off. We'll just set that aside. And then I'll get the rest of this fluid out. And then you can also pull this magnet here, and we'll go ahead and get rid of all that. So just go ahead and wipe that clean. Get all that off. And then I'll show you guys real quick. This is my old filter. I don't know if you can see it. There's a few just fine shavings there. This filter here is made to collect bigger pieces, and then that small toilet paper roll one is supposed to collect a lot of the finer ones. A lot of people don't replace this, but if you're already doing it, you might as well just go ahead and replace it along with the external one. So I'm just going to go ahead and drain the rest of this into here. And then I'll go ahead and wipe this out, use some brake clean, and then also clean up all along the edges here where the gasket goes. And we'll put our magnet back in and we'll stick it up in there. Okay, so as you can see, I got the pan all cleaned out. And then I'll also clean my magnet up real good. So you can go ahead and stick that back where your drain plug goes. And then also you can grab your drain plug too, and we'll go ahead and stick that on real quick too. And then, like I said, this gasket is reusable, so I just went ahead and kind of took a paper towel and then just wiped it down a little bit. And then we can go ahead and set this on. It's only able to go one way. It's kind of like that. And we should be ready to stick it in the truck. So before I go ahead and put the pan back up in there, I'm going to go ahead and clean the gasket surface here as well. Just going to use some brake cleaner and spray on my rag here and wipe it down. Alright, so with that gasket surface clean, let's go ahead and put our pan back up in here. Grab your pan and just make sure your gasket's lined up correctly. And we'll go ahead and put a few bolts in here. And you want to start all these by hand. And I like to just get a few in just to hold it up on there. So like I said, just go ahead and lightly tighten all those by hand. And then we'll do the final torque. Once you get all those hand tight, go ahead and grab your torque wrench, and we're going to torque all of those to 11 foot-pounds. Just pick a starting point and go ahead and go around one at a time. Once you go around one time, I'm going to go ahead and go around one more time just to make sure, and then we'll be good. Then just grab your 13mm or your 1/2 inch and make sure your drain plug's tight as well. Then you go ahead and grab some brake clean and spray everything down and make sure it's all clean, all that old fluid. Alright, so next I'm going to go ahead and I got an empty oil container here. that has the sight glass. So what I'm going to do, grab a funnel, and I'm going to empty what's in this little pan here from the external filter. Go ahead and pour that in. And then also, I got my other pan here, which when I started this was empty. So I'm going to go ahead and empty this into here as well, so I know just about how much I need to add of new fluid. So as you can see, this is a 5-quart jug, and I'm full now. So right about there, that's going to be 5 quarts, and I still got some left in here. So I'm going to go ahead and empty this into a different container, and then I'll empty the rest of this, and we'll see how much I need to add. And actually I found another empty old oil jug here. So let's go ahead and empty the rest of that into here. So it looks like, again, this was a 5-quart jug as well. So we have 5 over here, and then it looks like 6, 7, 8. So it looks like almost pretty much exactly 8 quarts is what came out of that. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and put in with new quarts. So go ahead and pull your dipstick, and as you can see on here, right there it says to use Mercon SP, which is what we're going to be using. Then go ahead and grab a long skinny funnel, and that's just going to go right in the dipstick tube. And then like I said, got Mercon SP is what we're going to use. I got a total of 8 quarts of that, and I have some old ones here that I had laying around as well, so I'm going to use that up. So go ahead and add a total of 8 quarts. Alright, so that's 8 quarts. Go ahead and pull our funnel here. And stick your dipstick back in there. So now you can go ahead and start it. Let's see where our temperature's at right now. And you can see it's at the cold there. And according to this, right at 92 degrees there. And then while you got it started, go ahead and slowly shift through each gear so you can get that fluid going through all the gears. And you'll want to do this a couple times. Go all the way down and then just go back up through each gear. And then with it running, go ahead and check for leaks. And it looks like we're good there. And it looks like we're leak free here as well. Next we'll go ahead and check our level even though it's cold. So go ahead and pull your dipstick. Wipe it off. Stick it back in. Pull it out. And it looks like we're about right at the bottom of the cold there. Alright, so as you saw when I pulled this, it was kind of towards the bottom of the cold mark, crosshairs there. So I'm going to go ahead and drive this, get the transmission up to temperature, and then I'll recheck and add any if I need to. Alright, so I just got back from a drive. I was able to get the transmission up to 165 degrees Fahrenheit according to my gauge. So I went ahead and stopped at the gas station, checked my level, and I was still sitting a little low. So I went by the parts store while I was out. I grabbed one more quart of transmission fluid, and between those 8 and this one, you can see I used about half a quart or so. So all in all, I used 8.5 quarts. So you may want to get 9 quarts to do this job just to be safe. And I went ahead and removed the dipstick and shut the vehicle off so you guys could hear me. And you can see right there, we're sitting about right in the middle of the hot area crosshairs, which should be perfect. And that'll give me a little more room as it heats up for that fluid to climb. So we should be good there. Alright, so that's going to do it for the video. Again, this was my 2005 Ford Excursion diesel with the 5R110W transmission, 5-speed. And I went ahead and replaced the transmission fluid along with the internal and external filter as well. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, check out my other videos, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.